Yeah, Streamlabs actually exploded. Huh. That's actually the first time that's done that on stream. Oof. That was kind of interesting. Okay, let's try that again. Hello, everybody. So sorry about that. Streamlabs actually crashed. Um, Hasn't actually done that to me in a hot minute. Oh, hey, nice magic trick. You saw nothing. All right. Is the overall size of the whiteboard okay, or should I tempt fate and attempt to futz around with it? Something to that effect, yeah. Okay, here we go. All right. Hopefully this is well, actually, haha, we can just make the screen bigger. I forgot. All right. So, where we last left off, I'm gonna take one of my ears off here because I've noticed that when I have my headphones on, I tend to speak a lot louder than I normally do. There we go. There we go. So where we left off last time, we were attempting to parse out a pretty simple command, at least trying to parse out the private message events that are coming from the IRC server. And I've been thinking about that since we last had stream last Tuesday. And I think what might make sense to do at this point is perhaps to attempt to create a standardized parse method for some of those commands. And I'm thinking of doing this in a couple of ways. So this might be a bit of an experimentation stream. We'll kind of see how it goes. But I'm thinking of taking that parsing logic, pushing it off into a dedicated module, and then which I'm using the term module. I actually just mean a separate Go file, and just creating a couple of dedicated structs for private message, for ping pong. We'll kind of see if that makes sense. And I think the other one was whispers. So we'll look into that a little bit today. Obviously, the last time we also fought hardcore with the authorization piece. I haven't really messed with that so far, although thanks to one of our viewers, I did get a couple of really good resources that basically told me that I do have to do things the hard way. So we'll come back to that probably in another stream, and that'll be number 8 here, attempting to automate the retrieval of that access token. But for today, I think we're going to focus on number 6, and let's see where we can get. All right, let's stop that share, and now we're back into the code here. And quick check on the code screen itself. Everything looked good. I'm also noticing that I am heavily zoomed in here, but hey. Does everything look good? Everything look relatively reasonable? It's good. All right. I love a little emote wall with a thumbs up just bouncing around. Fantastic. Okay, so a couple of things that I think we should probably address here. Number one is that I think it's time to move the IRC code out of the main.go to be a little more realistic to how this would probably look in a real Go library, or I should say in a real Go application, not a real Go library. I apologize in advance, as this cup is actually filled with boiling water and not coffee today, so my brain might be slightly miswired. What we would typically do, if I show here, so right now we just have everything listed out in the root package, in the root folder of this application. And this works for most small applications, and you could even argue that it would be perfectly fine for the amount of feature functionality that we're going to be putting inside of this bot. However, I think it does make sense to get a new package. Did you say you got boiling water in your cup? I do. I forgot to put the coffee beans inside of the boiling water, and I took a sip and I thought, this isn't bad. Okay. And then I actually looked at it. It's just water. I literally took, I don't know if I can show this, but I literally just put my cup under here, put water into the machine, hit the button, and forgot to like grind the beans, put the beans in. You know, like the professional coffee consumer that I am. So, what we should probably do is we should probably go ahead and make a new directory. And we'll call this, we'll just call this IRC for the sake of simplicity. And then what I think makes sense to do is to create a new file, and we're just going to call this irc.go. And irc.go is going to hold all of the code for our IRC. Oop. And then of course I just pasted all the code back into main.go. So let's save that, come out of that. I also like my coffee without the coffee. There's something strangely fulfilling about it. And by fulfilling, I mean terrible. Terribly disappointing? Fulfillingly disappointing? Your mileage may vary. No, I do not want to record a thing. I do want to close that though. Let's get a, we do, as we are moving some of these code bits around, we have some imports that we didn't have. So this is why all of these are yelling at us. So like compiler, undeclared name strings. Well, that's because we haven't imported strings. Haven't imported FMT. Haven't imported, I think that's everything. Yeah, that looks reasonable. Okay. And one other thing that I think makes sense to do at this point is there's a pattern, or I should say there's a convention in Go. Whenever you have a package, so in this case package IRC, whenever you have a constructor type function, there's the idea here of stuttering. So before I change it, let's go back to main.go. Let's come up here. And of course we don't use these, so we're gonna close those out. So if we were to fix this, this compile error is because we moved the code into a new code file in a new package. So if we just did IRC, IRC dot new IRC, undeclared name IRC, that's because we have to quick fix. Oh, have I forgotten to do the thing? Let's see here. Oh no, it is moduled up. Okay. So this is probably just being, oh, do I have to reinitialize GoPLS? Yeah. There it is. All right. Yeah, I had to reinitialize GoPLS because GoPLS didn't internalize that I had created a new package. So it had no idea what I was trying to import. Huzzah. So you see the way that this is worded here. This is called stuttering in Go, and really, I would argue that this is stuttering in any code base. It's where you have the package name dot new package thing. So for IRC, it's irc.newIRC. That kind of that's what we call stuttering in the code. Instead, it probably makes more sense to rename this function to be something a bit more clear about what it is that that this thing is supposed to be. So in this case, we could probably treat this code as a client. It's an IRC client, since that's most of what it does. And then I do need to add that into there, since I am using this Go client, or this Git client. And so now with this as new client, it now looks like this: irc.newClient. It's a minor thing. It's kind of one of those aesthetic things that that I think the community has kind of rallied around. I personally agree with it. I kind of like the way that makes the code read. And then from there, you have you can kind of sort of. It might make sense to rename this from IRC to just client, but What do we care? What do we care at this point? I say as I just make an aesthetic change for naming purposes. All right, so let's do a quick check just to make sure. Go run main.go. Let's see if we are still unexpected EOF. That probably means that I need to source the access token again. Let's find out. Oh no. Let's see here. Oh, hey Sorcery. How you doing? Thank you so much for coming back to the lab. When I first learned anything about programming, I got told if I need comments in my code, I probably didn't name my functions and variables good enough. Well, okay. I'll take a brief pause to talk through that, because I do have some opinions on that. In some cases, yes. Ideally, when you're writing your code, the code should absolutely be what's the phrase? The code should absolutely be as close to reading prose, or as close to reading what I consider to be natural language as humanly possible. Again, the reason being is that we're writing code for humans. The code gets turned into something that is consumed by a machine, but the art of writing code and the reason that we write code in the way that we do is because we're humans. We don't consume ones and zeros particularly efficiently. So on the one hand, yes. I'm waiting my turn. No worries, Sorcery. Thank you so much for stopping by. I appreciate it. So yes, naming your functions and naming your variables around what they should be implying that they are doing is definitely a good idea. And we can actually see this a little bit in things like IRC, where we have this function connect. Connect is pretty damn clear what this thing is doing. We're connecting to a server, right? And same thing, kind of, sort of, WebSocket default dialer.dial. Okay, yeah. Dial is an interesting choice of name, but it's consistent with the rest of the standard library. And if you really look underneath the hood, there is some dialing that happens here. IRC.read, IRC.write, so on and so forth. On the other hand, though, there are some things that if a comment, like a well-placed, succinct, short comment, can make a huge difference in the amount of time that the reader has to spend understanding your code. And for example, read go routine for the main chat stream. Okay, if you're not particularly familiar with IRC or the general purpose of what this thing is supposed to do, then yeah, you'll probably skip over that line, and you'll come down here and you'll be like, okay, well, what is this thing doing? We got an IRC read, we got some error handling, we got this thing for ping pong, but then we also have a comment here for ping pong, which is ping pong must be honored. In real code, I would probably say, or we get disconnected, right? So at least this one comment, and we can probably get rid of this now. This one comment saves you from having to parse what this is. and it's if you don't have to mess with this part of the code, then you can effectively read this comment and go, cool, and then move on. If the part of your code is easily understandable and straightforward, good naming is often enough. But if you feel like the code is doing something unintuitive, commenting is a must. The line here is pretty subjective and blurry. Exactly, Doll. It's really hard to remember that that when you're writing code, you kind of get into a mindset. You've built up a mental model of the code that you are working with. And as soon as somebody else picks that up, that mental model is gone. Like, unless somebody has the exact same mental model as you do for the code, which is highly unlikely, at least initially, that just disappears almost instantly. So definitely worth kind of taking the time. Definitely worth, what's the phrase? Definitely worth taking the time to kind of step back and think from the perspective of, well, if I'm not the one that's reading this code, or if I'm not the one that was writing this code, what would happen? How hard would it be to understand this? All right. So with that aside, kind of out of the way, I'm going to also make another change that originally I was going to ignore for a little while, but I think I'm going to go ahead and fix it, which is, there we go, which is not having variables for the channel and the NIC that we're connecting as. Going to do like that. And the reason that I was thinking about this is that I was thinking, how would we later pass those variables in so that we could effectively change the name that we're connecting as, or change the channel that we're connecting to, if for whatever reason there came a time where we wanted to actually use this for something other than MedgeLabs, which is possible. It's not our primary focus right now, but it's certainly possible. How would we want to do that? Well, there are a number of different ways that we could do that, and I'm still kind of deciding how I want to. But at least for now, I did want to go ahead and pull these two variables out so that whenever I come back and change this, if I do like flags, or if I get them from the environment, or however we choose to do that, that those things are pulled out, centralized, and it's easy to change. And I'm actually going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull token up to the top of the main Go routine now. For the same reason, like these are going to be externalized in some capacity. So I'd like to know why. And yes, we had 2 errors. Sorry, Fuel. I did not see your message there. We had 2 errors because apparently I accidentally moved trimmed downward, and I don't remember doing that, but here we are. All right, let's try this again. Let's see if we're back to working capacity. Error read from connection. Let's source again. Excuse me. Oh no, okay. Unexpected closure, which I believe last time we said that was because of the access token. So give me just a second here while I refresh the access token. All right. Any questions, or I kind of just word vomited through most of that. So any questions or anything that wasn't particularly well explained? Ooh, that is absolutely a different OAuth token. Yeah, so we need to change that to that. And close like that. Exit that. Source that. Twitch tokens actually coming in, okay, but hey. Let's see here. So let me pull that back off of me. I don't know all the shortcut hotkeys you're using to move text around. Looks interesting. This is a lot of Vim. So I use Vim for my primary editor because for whatever reason, well, I actually do have in my opinion, for me, a very good reason. I have a love-hate relationship with IDEs. Things like IntelliJ or Eclipse, some of the other big ones like Visual Studio, not VS Code. VS Code is actually pretty fantastic. But in general, I had a bit of a bone to pick with a lot of IDEs, and so in an effort to try and fix some of that, I actually was watching. There's a guy that he streams on Twitch, but then he uploads his streams to YouTube. He's called the Primogen. He's a developer over at Netflix, and he has a series on using Vim as an IDE or using Vim in general, but also getting Vim up to IDE spec, which is what most of my configuration is set on. Which, in case anybody is curious, I do have my dot files stored up in GitHub, publicly available for anybody to view. But watching him and kind of struggling with it, and I mean also, get this up here, and also the idea of switching to a tiny keyboard, it kind of pushed the idea of hotkeys well beyond anything that I had done previously, and I just got this speed and this comfort with using Vim. Plus, Vim has like nil for resource utilization, which is fantastic. Really, Frank, how you doing, mate? Welcome back. Thank you so much for coming back. And sorry, I can't think of one. How you doing, man? Sorry, I can't think of one. Am I allowed to use your real name on stream, or shall I continue to refer to you as sorry, I can't think of one? In case anybody's curious, I know sorry, I can't think of one IRL. We've been friends for Lord knows how long now. What's it been? Just shy of a decade, I think. Sorry is fine. Sorry is fine. Because that's what you are. Why are you sorry? Why are you sorry, man? You have very little to be sorry about. Added Vim to hot list of the month and now contains Rust and Vim. Oh, I really like that. Holy crap. Oh, that's so Rust and Vim. Let's see here. I have a couple commands on here. I don't actually remember what all they were. Oh, commands doesn't work as a thing. Because I made a bugbear rogue. You monster. Oh wow, that was delayed. Okay. Yeah, we have commands. They do things. All right, so that is mood. I'm gonna declare that as mood for the time being. All right, so let's try this again. And just double checking. So we are connecting to MedgeLabs. Our nick is MedgeLabs, and it does need to be MedgeLabs. And actually, I do need to close that over there. I need to just keep it over here. Nay. Oh my goodness. I am pleased. We have hash medge labs. We have the join where we want it to be. Nay, I say. Okay. So what happened? I feel like we fight with this every time, and it makes me sad. It also makes me think that we need something a little more reliable for we need something a little more reliable for this here. Just double checking to make sure that I didn't spell anything wrong or anything of that nature. I wonder. One more thing that I want to try. Let's see. Let's go into this here. Let's add an export to this, which I don't think I need to. I don't think I need to do the export. Twitch token equals OAuth thing. Okay, so that's okay. Oh, we've got things going on here. There we go. I'm just futzing around with the access token here just to see if that has any impact on it, although I don't think it will. Oh. Okay, it did. Magic trick. Streamlabs is struggle bussing tonight. It is it's making me sad. It's making me real sad, you know? You know, Streamlabs, I thought we understood each other. I thought we understood each other. Hey, Rob, how you doing, mate? Thanks for stopping by. Welcome to the lab. Yep, apologies in advance, everybody. It seems like we are having quite the issue with Streamlabs tonight. You double check to make sure. And everything back, everything look okay. Check 1, 2. OS Frog. Check 1, 2. Is everything back on? Oh, looks like everybody can see things. Okay, fantastic. Holy crap. All right, so the bot is now working. All I did was added an export. So is the problem the closing WebSocket? It is not really, Frank. The problem is actually that, so I have a file sitting somewhere that has, it's basically just the access token file, and it has access token equals blah, 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 blah. That's how the file was formatted. And then what I do is I run source on that file, it brings it into the environment, and then everything is okay. Except that everything wasn't okay because we weren't connecting. So I add an export, and it worked just fine. Bloody exports, man. Go run main.go. And now we're back. So, sorry about that, everybody. Welcome back. And apologies for Streamlabs continually breaking on me. OAuth token leak? I hope not. I hope not. Or if it does, kaboom. Linux wows. Let's see here. All right. So, let's close that out. Twitch token equals some gibberish. Totes a leak. It's my access token is absolutely, if anybody wants to take note, the access token is absolutely that. You have 3, 2, 1, and it's gone. Unless you watch the VOD later. All right. So now that we are back up and running again, 36 minutes into the stream. Okay. We have IRC code moved out. We now have our reader go routine that is reading, and now we can start parsing. You would not be the first streamer leaking a token. This is true. The benefit of having scripts for retrieval and revoke. If I do leak the token, revoke access token immediately. Yes, my password is absolutely 1234. If everybody could just not log into my bank account, that would be fantastic. I trust you all implicitly. All right, so at the moment, I think I'm pretty content with just leaving the ping code as it is. I could set up a separate method that's its own Go routine whose only purpose is to read chat and listen for the ping pong, and if it's not ping pong, then it doesn't bother, it just kind of keeps going. But I think I kind of like I like everything kind of being centralized here. At least I know that there's only one spot where the IRC stream is being read, and I can always divvy things out to other Go routines for more processing. So we'll continue to have this the switch statement here. We'll have our special case for ping, and then everything else prefix, command, params. So this is how we are going to attempt to parse these things. So what I think I would like to do is take a stab, because we don't have capabilities, and this was something that was brought up, I believe, in the last stream. Well, there you go. I believe this was something that was brought up in the last stream. I think capabilities is the thing, is something that I need to add. Let me pull something up here real quick. Yep, there we go. And let's go with, let me do something real quick here. We need to go to stream, Medgebot, and oh yeah, because that thing didn't work. That's fantastic. Okay, bear with me just a sec, chat, as I do a quick fix here. Oh, that's not what I need. I need a cat Twitch home access token. We need to grab that, revoke access token, and it's gone. Fantastic. So the last time that I was working on this, there we go. It was mentioned that there's an element of capabilities, which is what we have right now. As I slowly but surely fix this little issue, there we go. I am just struggle bussing tonight. I apologize, chat. Bear with me here. We want to plop that there, put that there. We want to delete that, save that, exit out of that, term into here, source that file, go run main.go, make sure that still connects. It does, and now I can bring the secret overlay back. Okay, so at the current moment, we are looking at things like this. Oh, really? Do I have to source it every time? Oh, I do have to source it every time. That's inconvenient. Can I get a message in chat? Please and thank you. Thank you. So what we have right now is a prefix that looks something like this, where it's really just the name of the person, that is chatting, and I think that's pretty sufficient for for what we need. Don't leak your token. Yes. Oh, it's in the chat now. It's in the chat now. It's on the internet for everybody to see. Yeah. Such a good token. It does so well. But there is, let me get a new window here just to make absolutely sure that I don't show anything. Nope, that's not the one that I want. I want this one because this is an example. There's this idea of a capability request, which when you make a capability request, you're basically requesting from Twitch more information about things like things pertaining to tags, the ability to read and respond to commands, membership options. You're basically getting more information than what comes in normally as a kind of a private message. We don't want that. We want that one. And so if you request a lot of these capabilities, you end up with a prefix that looks a little something like that. That's a lot. Like, that's a lot. There's a lot of stuff there. So I am envisioning that we probably won't need all of this information. I don't think we'll need most of this information. For the time being, it probably makes sense to just parse the prefix out and do a little something like this. Okay. So we did learn from the last stream that we can parse these tokens, and we did do a trim space on this on these tokens so that we could get rid of the trailing carriage return, the carriage return new line, or CRLF as it's called. And then we receive a slice of strings that represents the various tokens of our app. Of our chat line. And if we switch on token 0 and the first token is ping, obviously we know that's ping, but for everything else, we should be in this prefix command params piece. So what that effectively means is that, if I am understanding this correctly, tokens 0 should equal prefix. Tokens 1 should equal the command, and then tokens from 3, or technically I guess it would be 3, 3 onward, because we do want to ignore the colon, I think? 715209. Welcome back to the lab. Thank you so much for coming out, mate. Let's see here. As I'm sitting here jumping back and forth between screens attempting to keep up with chat, bear with me. And this should be the params. 0, 1. I forget what 2 was. I'm kind of curious. Let's do a log.printf, and then we want to do tokens 2. Prefix is optional. Yep. Which is looking like why we have ping having no prefix. And I wonder if any other commands are like that. That could have an impact on how we decide to parse these things. And as I geez, am I gonna have to? I'm just gonna source it and run it as a. I should probably just add that to the make file. I do have a make file. I should probably use it. Alas. edgelabs.tmi.twitch.tv. Interesting. Can I get a chat line in chat, please? I'm curious as to what 2 was because I don't actually remember. Shouldn't strings.contains really be strings.has prefix? That is a good question. Oh, that's right. That's right. Tokens 2 was was this, and I even had the comment right there so that I could reference it. Derp derp derp. Let's clear that out. Doop. Okay, so should it be strings.has prefix? Let's see. Strings.has prefix tests whether the string s begins with prefix. It does make sense to use has prefix, I think, when we start doing parsing. But for right now, I don't think that would work because we're still switching on token 0. And correct me if I'm wrong, since we're switching on the first part, which would be the more or less the optional prefix, for commands that do have a prefix, token 0 wouldn't catch priv message if I'm thinking about that properly. So I think contains for the way that we have it written right now makes sense. But if we parse this out, into a separate command that basically takes the line, processes it into a struct, which is kind of the thought, then I think we can swap this to has prefix. But as it exists right now, if we take this line of chat as an example, if we do strings.has prefix on that, it'll compare this part, it'll compare up to this part, I think. Which will never, this if statement would never succeed. Check if the first has a hash and then it has a prefix. Interesting. Okay. It looks like priv message is pretty consistently prefixed. And another thing that we could potentially do. Oh yeah, I think I get you. 715209. I think I see what you're talking about. You know who? No worries, really, Frank. That was a good thought, and it definitely makes sense. I think if we do what I'm trying to do, which is basically take this part, parse the line out into a struct of some kind, and then we do our processing off of that struct instead of this kind of plain text processing, which we're doing right now. Let's see here. If the prefix doesn't hold relevant information, wouldn't it be best to check for a prefix? If present, remove it and just treat every command the same from then on? Good question, Doll. And I think the prefix will be useful later. Since the prefix has information about who sent the message, that does give us the potential for future commands that maybe have a sender and a recipient. If we wanted to capture the sender for any reason and we wanted to say send them a message, or if we wanted to, if we wanted to do processing that involved the original chatter, the original person that sent the message, that prefix does hold value. It just happens to be that right now it doesn't really hold value. But that is actually another interesting path that you kind of sent me down. The exclamation point is also optional. Oh my god. It can't be easy on us. It absolutely cannot be easy on us. No, I don't think that would work. I had a thought of what if we just try to force process it, but I don't think that would work. At least not in the way that I'm thinking it could work. Let me go ahead and we'll say up here. Or do I want this to be in? I don't want to. I don't want to read. I don't want to change read just yet. I'm going to call this type message struct. I'm actually going to call this priv message. I hesitate to do it this. Yeah, no. Yeah, no. I'm just going to call this message. I'm going to call this message for now, which is very generic and very not great. I have a feeling that we're going to change this later. I forgot, but prefix starts with an @ symbol. Interesting. Okay. So 715209 with the @ symbol, or the Oh, interesting. Okay. That's something to look into. Yeah, we might use that. So let's see here. If we have prefix command, this is mostly just rough checking. And we'll want to call this line. We'll just generically call it line. I think I am going to call this priv message. I've been going back and forth on this. I just want to kind of like get something templated out. So we have the prefix, the command, and the message, which we're pretty confident is how this this priv message is actually structured. So let's come down here. Oop, too far. And what we want to do is we want to... We're just going to do some very basic processing. And prefix equals tokens 0, command. Yeah, this is absolutely not great, but tokens 1. Oops. We can do it, I believe. And then the message is this chunk of code that we grabbed from last stream. This is tokens, not token. There we go. All right. And then we have our message. So just checked on that. Tags start with an @ if you ever want to look for that. Oh, thank you so much for looking into that, 715. I appreciate it, mate. Because we will probably be using that here shortly. Okay, so one error left. Yep, and that's because we are declaring message but not using it. And then technically we're shadowing it down here. So we have prefix is token 0, command is token 1, and the message is effectively the rest of the tokens joined together by the end of it. So if we delete that, and then we want to say log dot println printf actually message %s, and then here we'll do message dot message. I'm already going back on the idea of calling this priv message. Yeah, let's change this. Let's just what do I want to call this? I'll just call it message. I wrote an IRC parser once. I do remember you saying that, which is still bloody impressive. Like, I'm gonna call this params. Generically params. Let's see here, and then we come back here. We want to change this. This goes from message to params. This goes from priv message to message. Case in point, like I absolutely will confirm that writing code is an iterative process, and you will go back on yourself over and over and over again. Just want to double check, make sure. There we go. All right. So that should get us back to where we were. Well, in the sense that we are just parsing it into a struct. So let's double check, make sure that's still working. We do have a bit of a doublet. Yeah, that is absolutely doing what we had before. So fantastic. Thank you, 715. Okay, so now we have our prefix command params. I did indeed remove the len tokens check. I probably want that back. I'm going to be a little lazy. There we go. So delete to this here. I'm going to move that down into there. Delete that. Log printf message dot. I'm going to fix this to message dot params. I'm going to change that up there. I'm going to bring this back here, and we're going to change. Oops. We're going to change that back to params. Okay. Double check, make sure that that is not erroring out on us. It is erroring out us because this is params. Okay. Why the double trouble? Double trouble in regards to what field? Sorry. Let me see if I actually have to export this every time. I do have to export that every time. Oof, that's annoying. Oh, I will have to fix that. Okay. All right, let's see here. Okay, so that is back. That is back, at least in the sense that it is splitting stuff out. Params are split by spaces. Is it? The messages appear twice when you connect. Yes. And the doubling, I think, is because we're no longer doing the priv message check, which I think... I thought that anyway, so effectively I'm receiving whispers as well as priv messages, and I'm printing them out. So in the case of like this stuff up here, this is both the reader and this Go routine that's reading code. They're both reading the same thing, and then they're printing after each other. So yeah, because we don't have that priv message check, we're just doing just kind of a brutish log printf where we're getting that doubling. All right, so params are split by spaces. I think this is where Twitch takes a bit of creative liberty, and I don't think they do that, or at least I thought they didn't do that. Oh, wait a minute. You know what? Maybe it's the same. Oof. Oh my goodness. Okay, so we may have to do something different there. And what I was thinking there was that because of the way that they have all of those things, but those are user capabilities. And then down here, oh, okay, I see. Yeah, so the capabilities are actually space separated. So it's capabilities space an identifier, which is effectively your name, it looks like, as connected to Twitch. Then you've got your command, then you've got your channel, then you've got your message. Okay. Those are semicolons separated. Correct. So all of this here, if we had capabilities turned on, or at least tags priv message channel, yeah, tags is going to be a pain in the ass, I feel like. So all of this is one contiguous string. It's just separated by semicolons, and then there's a space. Check the whisper I sent you. Oh, sorry, I am not on Twitch proper. Twitch's web channel proper. I'm actually on a pop out chat message, so I wasn't receiving whispers. Ah, yes, good old RFC. Or actually, that's a much nicer format than the other ones. Aha. I wish I had an easy way to get that over here, but alas. Okay. Okay. So for the sake of simplicity, since we don't have to solve every problem right now, for the sake of simplicity, we can more or less assume that piece here. Consume the colon name priv message channel message. I think what we can do, let's see here. Thinking. We'll need to make a to-do about this, but let's come back down here. Well, hello, Marvel. How you doing, mate? Thank you so much for coming back out. Welcome back to the lab. Look, Mom, I'm on television. I would still separate the params by spaces. Yeah, we'll have to figure out how to deal with that, since you're actually skipping one param. Now there was a curiosity. You're making me think. 715. I'm skipping hash Medgelabs is the first param. Let's do some. Let's actually look at it. So if we do like that, and that'll at least get rid of the doubling. Although that I just create. Oh yeah, it's gonna yell at me for that. So let's get rid of that. Technically, we do have an unnecessary block there, but that's okay. We gotta source our thing, then we gotta go run. All right. Let's take a look at this again. Chat, please, if I could. Do a quick time check on us. 5:35. Okay. So this is what we're getting right now. And I think I see what you're talking about. It's there is a space there. Correct, doll. So that's what we were looking at previously. So this is the raw message that's coming in from that chat stream. And what was confusing me was so hash Medgelabs is the first param. Gotcha. Okay, sorry 715. I was misreading your message. I thought you were talking about the prefix. So there's a space here, a colon, the sender of the message, a space, priv message, space, channel space, and then this. But I mean, I'm explicitly calling it channel because to 715's point and the specs point, technically all of this is kind of the kind of space separated concept of params. And you're correct. I am indeed skipping over the hash Medlabs as a param. So you are absolutely correct. Sorry, I am not processing at full speed apparently. So yes, we need to fix that. So let's fix that. Let's fix that real quick. Prefix command params from a generic sense is actually 2. It's because of the boiling water. I know. I didn't put coffee beans in my boiling water, and now my brain is just gone. So please bear with me, everybody. I apologize. So params like that. We need to bring this back out. We save that. That'll fix that awful parsing. And so now what we can do is we can effectively hand this off to some other function if we really wanted to, which that would at least separate the logic a little bit. So I'm going to hold on to that because I did promise 715 that I would keep that in the code and immortalize them forever. So let's have a new function down here, and let's call this. Let's just call it handle priv message for now, and we're going to get a message which is of type our message struct, and it's probably going to return an error, so we'll get to, well, let's not make that assumption just yet. And then we'll want to handle priv message. That'll at least pass the message out of this main read function. So we can get rid of that. Can actually bring that down there. And let's actually make a note about that. Space delimited. So space delimited tags. And then we have something like that. So at least if length token is greater than 4, we should have something like that. So we can parse it out accordingly. We need to change this to tokens 2 so that we capture all of those params. And the param still starts at 3. The comment doesn't apply to the code. Very good. Thank you, doll. Oh, that's what I was just changing. Fantastic. You were a step ahead of me, and I like it. So 0, 1, 2 to 0, 1, 2. Okay. Now the real question is, does it make sense to still do the trim prefix here? Probably not. So what I think we're going to do is we're going to get rid of the prefix check. And then what we'll want to do is we'll want to move this down here, which I do want to change this as handle message, because we're not yet handling priv messages, we're just handling messages. There we go. And now down here, we can do, we can effectively just do a standard if message dot command equals priv message. Then we're doing this is some very ugly code for the time being. I apologize in advance. What we want to do is we want to parse params such that we have something that's a little bit more readable for us. So how do we want to do this? We definitely want to prim out the message contents. Contents is strings.trim prefix. Priv message is just channel message. Sounds about right. So coming back up here. And honestly, I don't think it makes sense to do a string.join either. Because if we just send in params as the, well, let me ask chat on this. So right now, what we're doing is we're tokenizing everything, and then we are turning back around and rejoining tokens from 2 onward. So basically, taking all the params and joining those back together. So the question here is, does it make more sense to change params to a slice of string such that down below we can do some of the existing logic that we had, which was, okay, well, we know that the channel is at tokens 2, or I guess it would technically be token 0 of the param, and then we can have the rest of it as the chat message so that we can process that accordingly. What I would do is split params by space, but if you find a colon, you can add them together. Okay. So 715, just to make sure that I have this proper, you're saying keep this as a strings.join from tokens 2 and then re-split it down here as necessary? Joining them seems intuitive for messages, but not for actual commands. Seems reasonable. Because if we take the priv message, which is our current state, that doesn't really, we would effectively be, for priv message in current state, we are tokenizing the string and then joining the string, and then down in handle message we would be tokenizing the string again, which seems unnecessary. But for not, so just doing that like that. I have arrived for knowledge and friends. Welcome, Neelikin. Thank you so much for coming back out, mate. Welcome back to the lab. Apologies in advance, Nilo. I am struggle busing tonight, so haha. But if there is a colon after a param, those should be considered one string. Got it. Okay, so what we can do. So what I think I agree with the general sentiment. Making params a slice of string, and then all we're really doing here is we are creating a subslice, and just kind of taking that extra processing. We're already processing prefix, command, and params out. This is so just to call it out, because this does not match with the spec. This will not work if we add tags, so we definitely want to add a to-do here. This will break when prefix is greater than 1 token. Need to add processing for space delimited prefix as well. And 715 will probably come back to that idea of the colon, start from colon, basically concatenate everything together. We will definitely come back to that. Ninten, welcome, mate. Thank you so much for coming out. Welcome to the lab, mate. Oh, let's see here. Somebody get this man some whiskey. I would not be opposed to that. All right. So, yeah. So we don't need that anymore, because all that's doing is just duplicating the code, and then we're constantly having to change the comment to match the code. It doesn't really make sense to do that over and over and over again. By the way, check out those amazing froggy emotes. That is Let's see, let me get a shout out here. Get a quick shout out to Sorcery and Sarcasm. Those froggy emotes that you're seeing in the chat, that is Sorcery's emotes. Those frogs are adorable and they are amazing. And Sorcery is a fantastic streamer, so you should definitely check her out. And then also, we got a spooky ghost machine. Boop. And also Spooky Ghost Machine, which if you've been wondering where those pumpkin emotes are coming from that I always use, that's so Spooky Ghost Machine for the pumpkins and Sorcery and Sarcasm for the froggies. They are amazing. I'll be here lurking. No worries, Nintendo. Thank you so much for coming by, mate. All right, so you'll see what I mean. Oh, I am fully prepared to come back on this to do over and over and over again for not paying it proper mind. Oof. And I wonder how painful it is to sit here and watch me make some of these design decisions with the knowledge that you have. Oh, which by the way, I appreciate you being here, 715. You have been a fantastic help. All right, so if the command equals priv message, this means that we can reparse params. So channel here is going to be let's see here, message dot params 0. If I am understanding that, if I'm having that correctly, sure. And then the contents itself is all of that strings dot trim prefix, and then we want to trim the colon out of that, and then this is strings dot join, there we go, message dot params, this would be 1 onward, I think is how I was reading that before. That should work too. Realizing you did a big oopsie on design decisions because you lack the knowledge that hits extremely near to home. I know, right, doll? Which is, I mean, that is software development in a nutshell. We don't have information. We take a stab. We run an experiment effectively. Either it works or it doesn't work, or even if it does work and then we find new information and then we go, ah, crap, this doesn't actually work anymore. What do we do with it? So I'm just going to do a log.printf just to make sure we are back where we were. Going to have a printf contents. Oops. And then we are actually going to comment that out for now. I think I'm going to need the channel a little bit later, maybe. Can't exactly describe why. That's terrible. That I don't even want to go into where my brain like just yeeted itself out of a window. That was interesting. All right, you're in a maze of twisty tunnels. I have joined Streamlabs. Can I get a chat line, please and thank you? Oh, I might actually have to take a small break here in just a second. You would only need to channel if it was a multi-channel bot. True, very true. Which, Lord knows, I do not want to have to deal with multi-channel right now. Potatoes. Welcome, Phoenix. Thank you so much for coming out, mate. Oh, that's interesting. Oh, that's very interesting. Did I goof? I'm just looking here. So I got one priv message. Oh, no, there's the other priv. What? What? Y'all saw that too, right? I'm not crazy. Okay, here's Phoenix. Here's 715, and then there's Marvel, and then the priv message happened. And but I see if no spaces, then it doesn't work. If no spaces, then it doesn't work? Oh no. Oh, you're right. Huh. Okay. On that interesting bombshell, I need to pause for just a second. Take a quick break. I'm going to run out real quick. I'll be back in about a minute or so. So Sade, professional streamer, obviously. So I will be right back, guys. Give me just a sec. And I return. Sorry about that. Figuring that out in just a few seconds, I'm impressed. I am too. That was a really good catch. Okay, so now the question is why? Oh, wait. Am I doing something silly here? Huh. Ping pong. Good to see the ping pong is still working. Fantastic. See, I'm not a big fan of the fact that when you're using the inbuilt or when you're using the inbuilt terminal emulator in Vim, you can't. So my leader key is mapped to space, and I can't space J down to come back into this other window down here. My only option is to close it out and then come back here, which means that I can't leave that running. I could always open up another terminal, which actually I think I might do that. Let's it's not going to be great. cd medgebot command not found docker. Command not found docker. I beg your pardon. Huh, I might have to fix that later. Go run main.go. Oh, hitting the microphone here with my face. Bear with me, chat. Sorry about that. Okay. So, 715 has brought up a very interesting recognition that if a message has Yeah, that is so interesting. If a message is only one word, it doesn't catch it. In other words, if it doesn't have a space in it, it doesn't catch it. But when it has a space, it catches it. And I'm wondering if that is because, I wonder if that's because of the slice. Bada bing, bada boom, space in front. Nope. It kills the space in front. Rude. But then again, I think that's kind of like how like Teams and Slack do. Like if you put a / in the front of your message, they think you're typing a command. But then if you put a space / it lets you just type out that you were typing out a regular message. But then it immediately trims the prefix after the fact. Okay. So with that in mind, let's see. Let's just do a log.println message.params. And for the life of me, I cannot remember. Oh, there it is. Okay. Sorry. I was having a moment because I couldn't remember what the keybind was to switch between terminal windows. As you can tell, I do that so much. Oh, this is going to be a heck of a lot faster. Okay. How about now? I think we're just going to get a like a single. Well, no, it wouldn't even be a single slice because that would be odd. Hello? Where's my print line? Okay, hold on a second. I think we might have... I think we might be doing something weird up above. Like where we're processing the line itself. I think we might be doing something weird. Okay. So just to grab this real quick. So that gives us that. Well, we can get rid of the log part. And indeed, it is, I mean, it is as we expected. Params 0 is that. Params 1, 2 onward is that. So that's working. But, but I'm having a theory, a worry, a thing. I wonder if it has something to do. It doesn't think it's a priv message for some reason. Exactly. Why would that be? Let's add a log.println. Let's do this. Message string log dot. This is going to be like log central, but log.println tokens. Yeah, that's going to be spam central. I'm not prepared for that. So let's go ahead and get rid of that. And let's, oop, didn't want to do that. All right. Let's come down here. Boop, boop, boop. All right. Can we get a couple test messages in the chat, like an F? Okay. Welcome back, Sorcery. We are debugging. We are debugging all the things. Okay, so let me stop the chat window for just a second. All right, so here is here's an example. If we go back up to here. So message string by itself is just the full string with the CRLF here. So I don't think that's really going to buy us anything. It's not really showing us anything, so we can get rid of that. And then the trim space is particularly interesting. It is effectively the same thing, just with the CRLF removed from it is space removed from the front and the back. And you'll notice here that it does show up there. It doesn't show up there, which is particularly interesting. And that might just be the way that log.println is handling it. And let me go back to, here we go. Let's go back to IRC. Let's go down to our read function. Oh, no, it's not. It's because I was putting the space there. Never mind. Oh, I am so sorry, chat. I am just having a day today, apparently. Okay, so let's come back to main. We've got our message here. I'm gonna move that. That log back up here. Just for context, the reason that I did that is because we had a log message inside of this read, which is effectively just log spamming us. And I don't really like to do log spamming for utility methods like read. I would much prefer to not do that, especially with with write we're only doing a check for pass in this particular case. I'm not as big of a fan of doing this, but so I might come back to that. But anyway, for read, I just wanted to move the log.println out into main.go so that I know where it is and I can get rid of it, etc. Sorcery and sarcasm. Messages without spaces aren't private. Apparently. Okay, so then we come back over to here. So trim spaces gives us the message without CRLF, and then tokens for the split form gives us this. So we have token 0 is effectively the only part of the prefix that we know about. It's the command and it's the message. And I just wanted to double check that real quick. Like all of these are priv. They're priv messages. The command is indeed priv message. So I'm not entirely sure why that would go kaboom. Horsery and sarcasm. It's just such an easy name to pun on. I don't know why. Isn't the len check greater than 4, but with only one word, it's doll. That big brain. That big brain. Not equal to, greater than. That'd be greater than, equal to. So now the real question is, do we need the length check here? I don't think we need the length check. Remove the entire switch? Yeah, you know, let's actually years of painful debugging finally paid off. You know what? Okay, before we go down that path, let's double check, see where we're at. So let's come back down here. Let's bring back contents, bring back the priv message, and then let's come back down here, close that, rerun it. All right, let's see where we're at. Before I go down that path, because 715 brings up an interesting point, let's check this. Doll. That big brain moment. Look at that. You are absolutely correct. It was the length check. All right. So what do we do about that? So the immediate change could just be as simple as, well, change this length, if length greater than equal to 4. Instead, so it was, just to kind of catch chat back up, it was if length of the tokens is greater than 4, which is a pretty standard case, except for the edge case that we were just running into, which is if you don't type more than a single word or a single character, the length is 4. The length is not greater than 4. So as Doll pointed out, Doll3xx, it is greater than or equal to 4 would solve the problem in this specific case. Going down the path of what 715 is bringing up, though, we could, because of the way that we are kind of splitting up processing of things, we could absolutely get rid of this switch altogether. And we could do that in a couple of different ways. One option is we could do, before we do any of that, before we do any of this, we can say, sorcery, the most respected of mentors. Seriously though, give Sorcery and Sarcasm a look. She's a fantastic Dark Souls streamer, just streamer in general. She's currently doing the Souls series. Okay, so what we can do here is if strings dot has prefix ping. This is the special case. This is the special case of ping pong, right? So we could move this up here. Now the challenge here being that without the tokenization piece, we could, how could we do this? We could do this in a couple of ways. I'd say change this to okay, I'm going to be a little lazy just for the moment. Just for the moment. Just check if it begins with colon so that you know it has a prefix. Okay, so let me back up on that. Ooh, let me bring that code back. Let me yeet that back down to here just for a second. Okay. So if I'm understanding you correctly, what we can say is, it was too nice outside to not go for a walk. Welcome back, sorry. Okay. So what you're saying is, if strings dot let me make sure that I'm getting this proper. If strings dot has prefix tokens 0, whoop, we know that this thing has we know that this line that has been sent to us has a prefix. Ergo, we could then do this processing, or at least in theory we could do that processing. So if I'm thinking about this properly, we could do that. And then otherwise we have else prefix is empty. So then we would have, oops, else, let's see here. And we definitely var message message equals message. Otherwise, prefix here would actually be changed to this. That would be like that. This would be tokens 0, and this would be 1 onward. I think I'm reading that properly. Luffy93, welcome to the stream, mate. Welcome to the lab. Aha. Okay. Sorry, we are in big brain territory right now, so I am focusing right now. Okay. So then we have a pretty consistent parsing of prefix. Now, this still requires the same to do. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move this to do up here, because it is still the case that if prefix is greater than 1 token, then we're basically our indices are going to be borked. But we can do something with that. Now we can do our case for ping pong. And we can say we can do ping pong must be honored or we get disconnected. So we'll say if message dot command equals ping, then we do our pong. I didn't mean that. What if it has no params? Okay. Hold on. Let me think here. So, what if it has no params? Does 1 to infinity effectively still work? I guess it depends on if there are commands that we care about that don't have params to them. Which I would defer to you on that question. Are there any commands that you can think of that we would need to process that wouldn't have params? Would a switch statement make more sense? Well, ironically, sorry, that was exactly what we had just swapped. Let me check RC. Let me check Twitch. No worries. There's also an element to this of does it really buy me anything to handle a command with no params? Considering that I think 99% of the types of messages that we care for are effectively the parammed version. So more or less private messages, as well as what's the other one? Private messages and whispers. And I think even user actions are also parammed in some capacity. I mean, unless we did manage to get somebody that or somebody managed to send a message that had no message. I wonder. Priv message, Medlabs. Looks like that just gets rejected. Interesting. Global user state has no params. And global user state would be for... Oh, hello. Oh, right, because we gotta clean this up a little bit. Okay. So we do that. Otherwise, handle in some capacity, and then we handle message. What is global user state? Twitch chat commands, global user state. It's just one example. Okay. If tags caps have been sent beforehand, there might be. Okay. For the sake of simplicity, and for the sake of not solving for problems that we don't have, at least not yet, to do, are there any commands we need to handle that have no params? Because in the current state, I think that most of the commands that we care about are going to have params, although that's a good point. Is there something that would break this? And it does bring up the question of, would that cause a panic here? So something to look into as we dig into this thing. Okay. So now we have this this kind of default parsing method for this read function, and that does also bring up another potential curiosity, which is, do we just move that parsing into the read function? Like, does it make sense to have this parse things out into a message? Right now, probably can ignore it for the time being, but there's there's an interesting possible thought in my head that maybe, just maybe, it makes sense. Maybe it makes sense to move that. Oh, did the audio just change to write only, or just me? Let's find out. It's back now? Okay. What if I do that? What if I move it back to there? Is this all good? It fixed itself. Oh. Excuse me? Sorry, I can't think of one. What did you say? What did you do? 8 messages were deleted by a moderator. Huh. Streamlabs, please. Okay, I will have to look into that a little bit later. Sorry about that, mate. I have no idea what triggered that. Seems to be bad words. Do I dare kick myself out of my own chat? I do dare to kick myself out of my own chat. Oh. Heh. The log window shows the message. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Ping pong. At least that's still working. Oh, my goodness. That is majestic. Okay, so let's get back to this. But to kind of finish that thought, there was an interesting idea of instead of passing back the string from the read method, instead passing back a message object itself, and kind of making the client more strongly typed. so that instead of having to do all of this string processing out here, we can move that into the read method. But we'll kind of leave that alone for right now. There's some considerations to take into consideration. There's some considerations to think about there. So we'll not do that right now. All right, ping pong is still being honored. Otherwise, handle the message. Down in handle the message, I really want this bot to respond to a command today. So we are going to respond to the hello command. And since we have the hello command, thank you. Since we have since we have the contents parsed out already, the absolute bone simple way to do this would be if strings dot has prefix contents bang hello, then send a private message back out to this to the channel. And I am going to yeet this part back down to here. Priv message. Aha! Remember how I said the channel might be necessary? Priv message plus channel plus oh no, we just want that channel colon. What do we want to do here? World. Send failed. There we go. We'll just do that. I'm off to bed. Thank you for the company, Labs and crew. Good luck with the rest of the stream. Thank you so much, Neelikin. Thank you so much for coming by. Have a good one. Sleep well, and I will see you in the next stream. Take care, mate. Let's see here. IRC.write not declared by... Oh, right. Because we don't have IRC in here. We don't have the client in here. I'm sorry, chat. I'm feeling a little lazy. I'm feeling just a little lazy right now. I just want to see this damn thing respond. I just want to see it respond to the message. So we don't need that anymore. We don't need that anymore. Don't need that anymore. All right. We ready? We ready? It has been a long time since I have been excited about a damn Hello World. Oh man, that is majestic. Bing bong. Oh. Man, oh man. Oh snap, you can't repeat the message? There's a limit to 30 seconds on identical messages. Yeah, technically I think we're doing well there's something interesting on there. Let's see. Hello, world. Hello, world. Hello, world. I am so freaking happy that that's working. Oh, it's the little things. It's the little things. All right. Well, we did a thing. It's now processing commands. However, this is not very clean code, y'all. This is giving me a little bit of cringe, not gonna lie. We've got a lot that's stuck into this Go routine at the moment, which is fair. I mean, that is technically what the Go routine is supposed to do. But there's got to be a way to clean this up, right? So let's think about this. So I think the read step here is perfectly fine. The way that we're doing the read here is, in my opinion, perfectly fine. And then the way that we're trimming and splitting and doing all that fun, also perfectly fine. There's an element to this that is, though, making me wonder. I'm kind of going back on that idea of returning the message struct from read and just basically moving all of this code into the read function, which does have one of the benefits, if you will, I suppose, of if we do actually fix some of these to-dos that 715 has been pointing out, that the rest of the code doesn't have to worry about it. So that is enticing to me. The handling of ping here is okay, I suppose. The difference between like a switch and a collection of if statements, you could argue that that's a little stylistic. And then obviously if we wanted to add more commands into this this code, like we would be doing a bunch of this. If strings.hasPrefix contents hello, then do that. If strings.hasPrefix, screw it, we're gonna do I'm actually kind of curious if this would work. I'm actually kind of curious if this would work. Sorry, chat. Just gonna do a quick feature check, just to double check. This would be like a bot calling a bot calling a bot calling a bot calling a bot. Oh my god, it works. Oh, that's so good. Okay, so just to call this out. So this bot now has a command called sorcery. When you call sorcery, it posts into the channel a command SO at sorcery and sarcasm, which is a command in Streamlabs, which is what promotes that there little shout out that we got there. Hardy freaking hard. That's hilarious. Best ads for other streams. Yep, bot ads for other streams. This is absolutely ad bot. Hello, sorcery. We're just using you as a test subject, and in the process, I'm giving your stream shout out. So welcome. I was lurking. Why am I being mentioned? Because you're awesome. That's why. So deal with it. But yes, so this is not great. It's duplicate code. It's just, yeah. I don't like the way that this is looking right now. 715 brought up an interesting idea of a lookup table. So the idea of parsing out to see if there is a command. If there is, then use a lookup table to say, do I have an action for that command? If so, run it. If not, then basically we just say, or we just ignore it. And then we can kind of combine this code together to be a single chunk of code. Let's see here. A bot giving commands to another bot. They're evolving faster than I thought. Right, doll? It's like Alexa and Google talking crap to each other. Do they not do that already? Like, is that not what the back and forth on the dark web is? It's just Alexa and Google just spamming each other. Oh, that would be an interesting plot hook, actually. Okay. We have some ideas, but it is 6:30. We've done so little, and yet we have achieved so much. We have achieved a little bit of code cleanup, which is fantastic. So this is command processing. To do. Make better. We have achieved ye almighty. And now Fiola is just going to sit here and spam sorcery for the rest of the stream. Sorcery. I apologize. It's Fuel. I would change the check for prefix, but not sure how you would do it. Absolutely. Only the stream? Always. Clean coding. We be clean coding, boys and girls and everybody else. All-inclusive stream. We be clean coding peeps. Peeps, lab assistants, I don't know. What's that thing that that YouTubers do? They like name their audience with some type of term of endearment. Oof. But yeah. Yeah, it's getting late, Fuel. I think we will call it here, because there's a couple of design decisions here that I think I'm probably going to need to take some mulling time on. Number one being whether or not I want to move this this message struct into the IRC client. Whether I want it to be no clue what I see, but looks good. I mean, look at these colors though. Like, whabam. There is definitely an element of wanting to make this code more more strongly typed. The functional developer in me is definitely coming out. But I'll need to mull over that a little bit. And then also thinking about how we want to handle the command processing. Because more or less, if we really think about it, this bot is primarily going to be responsible for, in the current implementation, responding to messages. So there is definitely Polo. There is definitely something that we could do here to make this a little more compartmentalized. Maybe it makes sense to make a bot struct, and maybe we do some parsing specifically for commands. Because at this point, we're kind of just being a little general. We're just doing some string has prefix. We could definitely make the code a little bit more clean. And I said Polo, but you ignored me. What's new? Wow, I'm just now getting the emote wall of sorry, I can't think of one's boards. That is very interesting. I like lab rats. Absolutely. Okay, so there's definitely some design items to consider here. But let me bring the whiteboard up here. You see the magic behind the scenes. It's just a Zoom window. So sorry, chat. It's just a Zoom window. Boop. There you go. All right. I hesitate to put a check mark next to number 6, but it is technically responding to commands. What I probably want to do with that, though, we'll move Dockerization and automation down just a wee bit. We'll make a 6A. Better, or not better, we'll call it cleaner. Cleaner command parsing. That is some terrible bloody handwriting, but hey. Definitely need some cleaner command processing. And possible B message struct in read method. Someone's just been pointing at me for the last 15 minutes. I am definitely an odd form, if you really think about it. This is, by the way, how deadlines in software development get killed. Absolutely. Like if you look at, if we considered this to be like our things that we have to get done, and the fact that we are adding things to this list, whatever deadline we originally had, it is so far out the window. Support IRC tags. Aha. Thank you. 715209. Process, or I guess technically it would be a process IRC tags question mark. I'm going to imagine that if we want to add some of the more intricate functionalities, probably going to have to look into that. Ship it straight into production and just kind of go with it. All right. Let's bring that down into here. Well, thank you all so much for coming out. I appreciate everybody. I appreciate all the support. This is still just fun as hell. And the fact that all we really did tonight was a hello world and a sorcery spam, which, let's be real, like that is a feature that the world was desperate for. Just saying. Hello world. I don't know about you guys, but I'm feeling real good about that. I'm feeling real good about this thing. Sorry, the Streamlabs command is on a timeout. A minor timeout. But I'm excited. I'm excited about where this code is. And I'm kind of already, like, my brain is starting to whirl really fast. But for now, we will call it here. Thank you very much, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out. And as always, we will see you all back in the lab. We will be back on Friday, same time, and we'll keep the experiments rolling. All right? Take care, everybody. Thank you.